You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year. Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, episode 112. 112, folks. It's hard to believe. But, shoot, we're going to be getting to 200 soon. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc. And all the way from Woods and Shore Studios in, a.k.a. Minnesota, Paul Voldy, Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
All is right in the world once again. Patriot Pat is back into the realm of the hemisphere. The Patriots are bringing back the red jerseys with the white helmets. All is right in the world. I sound like crap. I look like crap, but it's a great day to be a Patriots fan. It's a great day for MinneZona Sports Live as well. So cheers to that.
Yes, cheers. Cheers to that. I will cheers to that as well.
There you go.
I guess for me, it's nice for Patriot fans, but it's kind of, I don't know, with the Gronk retirement too, it's kind of, you know, give or take. You know, there's been some controversy to that, but we can get to that in a sec. But we got a lot to talk about tonight, Voldy. One being the pain that we've felt through Minnesota sports. It's been realized here with the graphic we posted on the socials. For Voldy's Virtues tonight, the curse of Minnesota continues. A lot of former players, a lot of former coaches have went on to bigger and better things and have done well. And we don't like that one bit.
No, we don't.
But we got to get to talk about that for Voldy's Virtues. But we start off tonight, Tater Tot Hot Take. We're talking Twins, and then also we're talking the Wolves. Really, I mean, this is something that needed to be addressed too. So, and then ARA, we got a lot of controversy. We got the Watson deal. And Dan freaking Snyder. Oh, my blood's boiling right about now with that. So we got a jam-packed show tonight. We want to know your thoughts as well. So please, in the comments, let us know what you guys think as well. So anyway, Voldy, I say we should get going with some Tater Tot. Whoa, hot take. That's hot. Whoa.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, time for some Tater Tot Hot Take. The first hot take, we start off with the Minnesota Twins. And as an update, I should say, the Twins are up 1-0. Carlos Correa, home run, so that's good.
Yep. There you go.
But kind of the downside to this, and I feel like, Voldy, we talked about this before we got going tonight, and what's weird is that we weren't the Twins leading the Central by 8 games 2-3 weeks ago. What the heck is going on here? And now all of a sudden they're not in sole lead of the AL Central right now after last night's loss to the Guardians, not the Indians anymore, the Guardians.
The Cleveland Baseball Club.
The Cleveland Baseball Club. At least they're not owned by Dan Snyder. But the Twins lose 6-5 yesterday in extras, 11 innings. It was a good game. I mean, granted, the Twins played pretty well. Kirilloff played a great game. Our pitching wasn't the best, but then again, this is a game that they could have won, and they had a chance to, but there are a lot of strikeouts, especially by our top guys, Buxton, Correa, and especially Ryan Jeffers had a good game, but he struck out as well, I think, in the extras there. So, Voldy and Zoners, I asked this of you too. What are your guys' or what's your thought on the Guardians here? And what I mean by that is, are we really worried about them now since they've kind of caught up to us? And they weren't supposed to. I think we were all talking about this before. Is like the Guardians weren't supposed to be good this year. I mean, Voldy, are we now concerned about this team?
I mean, there could definitely be some concern because a lot of the young guys that they brought in to start the season, they're actually contributing is the thing. Stephen Kwan, who was a nobody at the start of the season, he could very well be the rookie of the year for the American League, the way he's been playing this season. Naylor as well. Josh Naylor, I think it is. He's a Canadian guy, but he, even last year, too, before he got hurt and ended up missing a good portion of last season with a gruesome knee injury, he can hit the cover off the ball, which is terrifying to see. You got Brian Shaw coming out of the bullpen, going on like his 29th year in Major League Baseball. I don't know how this guy still finds a way to come out day after day and still pitch. Pitching-wise for them, I'm not overly concerned about it. There are a couple of guys they do have in the rotation. I still think Shane Bieber's flash in the pan. I still think Jose Ramirez is all it's all a fluke, really. I don't know how this guy is like getting all the top end consideration and getting that big time, Mike Trout FU money. But I literally think he's overrated is the thing, and I don't understand how he continues to get all this recognition. I could be a little bit concerned as things continue to move along, but I think things are more coming into place for the Twins right now than there were, say, a couple of weeks ago when the Twins were up by like 8 games in the division.
Yeah, it feels like not too long ago. That's the thing. And, I mean, Zoners, correct me if I'm wrong. Easy A, he says, I'm concerned anything can happen with the Twins. And, as we all know.
That's true.
Now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's true. I'm really not that concerned about Cleveland. And I know that I know a guy that is a Cleveland fan as well. And I don't think anybody expected them to do much. But now that they are, I mean, it's still, let's be honest, it's still very early in the MLB season. A lot can happen. But let's not forget that the Twins were taking on some pretty solid. They took on the Rays.
Yeah.
I don't think they won that series. They took on
New York.
And of course, that whole ordeal didn't go as well. So, I mean, they've taken on some tough teams. Cleveland has kind of put it together for now, but that could very well change here very soon. Now, I'm not going to go as far to say as we should just write them off and be like, oh, they're going to fade away, because that shouldn't be your mindset at all. Because, let's be honest, the Chicago White Sox, they're only 5.5 games out of first as well, so they could creep up on you too. And Chicago, I don't know, they're kind of in a weird situation because a lot of people are calling for La Russa's head. Or it's a 4-game. I'm sorry, they're behind 4 games. I'm sorry.
Yep.
4 games. So, but there's a lot of turmoil there, so I'm not too worried. But at the same time, the Twins losing to Cleveland, I mean, they got to win this series against Cleveland.
They do.
It's that simple. Being out to a 1-0 lead right now definitely helps, but winning the series, I think, is crucial for our Minnesota Twins. So we'll see what happens. But
let's also mention the fact too, in those couple of weeks, the Twins took on, like you had mentioned, New York, the Yankees, Toronto, and Tampa Bay. They went 5-4 in those 9 games, which a lot of people saw as a win. Even the fact that they were 1 game above 500 in those series as well. I mean, when you take on the AL East, especially with the Yankees that have won, I think they won they lost last night, but they'd won 12 of their last 13 games, and their
last 10 they're 8-2. Yeah,
8-2 in their last 10 games. And then you look at some of the other teams too, like that have gone on to like 12, 13 game win streaks and everything. It's just crazy to even see as well. But I even look at some of the other positives too. You see like Alex Kirilloff now finally getting called back up, and he's starting to hit the ball better than he was at the start of the season, because I think his wrist was still bothering him, and he still had those. He's still trying to deal with those injuries. Goes down to AAA, playing every day and getting the ability to fine tune a little bit, and he's finally hitting the ball the way that he should. You know, he went 2 for 3, 2 RBIs and a double last night. Luis Arraez is having, you know, the best season in his career.
I love him, man.
God, I certainly hope he ends up winning the batting title this year, because I mean that guy is just fun to watch, especially at the top of the order for the Twins. Joe Ryan, he didn't have a terrible night. 6 innings, 3 runs on 7 hits, struck out 7. That's a quality start.
Yeah.
You know, you'd like to see that be 7 innings and 2 runs given up, but you know even the bullpen didn't even have a terrible night, except for Emilio Pagan. That's another thing. In 4 innings, they only gave up 1 run without giving up a hit and struck out 5, while Pagan ended up giving up the game-winning, or giving up those runs on 1 inning, including it being a home run too. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot more positives as of late. Unfortunately, you're running into a real good Cleveland team right now. It's just hot at the right time.
And you're just getting healthy, too.
Exactly.
They've gotten some guys back as well. But my main man, Jared Doyle. J-Man, not scared till I see Charlie Sheen on the mound. I see what you did there, and I like it. I like the reference. That's true. And, Voldy, let's not forget, last night, runners in scoring position, they were 2 for 13.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to put in. And on this article, shout out to twinkietown.com, Duds, Rob Manfred.
I feel like that's always on there, so
that's good. But I mentioned this before, and then we'll move on here to the comments that Michael. Well, we'll get to it. But Thompson made about the Wolves. Luis Arraez, you brought it up. Luis Arraez, I just love watching him play, man. I mean, he loves the game, and he's a great interviewer, or great interviewee, I should say. And he's just great with the media. He's a great person, and the things that he's done for this team is incredible. I mean, he can play any position in the infield. He can, the guy's hitting the cover off the ball, man, and I love to see it. And he's probably one of my favorite Twins right now. So shout out to Luis Arraez for kicking butt here. And who knows? Yeah. I mean, he's not a big home run guy, but he's definitely shown a lot of growth. Yeah. And he's a great player, man. So hopefully the Twins can get the W tonight, and we can talk about them having a 2-game lead. Hopefully, I think this is a 3-game series if I'm not mistaken, and hopefully they can extend it here and beat Cleveland. So we'll see. All right, Voldy, let's move on to our next one. This is kind of more of a thing that we needed to address with there was a comment made by Klay Thompson's father, Michael Thompson. I'm just going to go with that. Yeah. And I don't disagree with him, because this is a perfect segue for Voldy's virtues here, but it's very accurate in what he said, and he tweeted, yeah, the Warriors got to send a ring to Minnesota. Why? Well, they passed on Steph and Klay in the draft, and they traded Wiggins to Golden State. So, yeah, Minnesota should get a ring too. And let me say that his grammar is not very good on his tweet. But that's okay.
He was probably fully enjoying the championship parade when that tweet came out. So so is Klay. Klay was definitely enjoying himself.
He knocked over somebody, so there's that.
Dropped one of his rings in the street.
Dropped one of his rings. Oh, boy, wow.
Lost his hat in the ocean.
Yeah. This is kind of reminiscent to TFB after winning the Super Bowl, I feel like. So, but
a little too much avocado tequila.
Yeah, but Voldy, it's obvious. It's very accurate. What are your thoughts on his comments yourself? What do you think of this?
I mean, where's the lie, though? I don't see why they wouldn't want to send a ring, because, like, obviously this is the 4th championship for that crew over there in 8 years. I think the Timberwolves are well within their right, and with their, like, you can't do anything but tip your cap to Golden State with all the pieces that the Wolves have kind of laid in place for them. They've directly, indirectly laid the groundwork for Golden State to win a title as well. And I know one of my guys, Matt Fowler, who is a huge Golden State fan, he's from the Bay Area, and he was actually at the championship parade the other day, and actually saw firsthand a lot of the experience. Like we all know, yes, the Timberwolves passed on Steph Curry twice in the 2009 NBA
Just
draft.
ask Munson.
Years later, the Warriors get Klay Thompson after the Timberwolves decide to go with Derek Williams in the draft that year.
Yeah.
And then we all know most recently Timberwolves get D'Angelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins. Yes, a former number 1 overall pick traded for a guy that it's D'Lo. We'll say that much.
Yeah,
as well. There's potential, but at the same time, like, potential went out the door a few years ago with him. So directly, indirectly, I don't see why the Timberwolves shouldn't get a ring out of the deal. At least maybe something under the table. Maybe some A-Rod, Mark Lowry can work out and keep things under wraps. For that for everything that's gone on the last few years for Golden State.
Yeah, and not only. I'll get to the Wiggins thing when we get to virtues here, but I'll start with the Steph thing. The Wolves passing on him twice is just absurd beyond belief. It's something that we had a terrible GM at the time, and we didn't really have a path. And I'm not saying I'm absolving the Wolves for that, because this will live in infamy for the rest of the whole frickin' franchise.
The one draft I remember watching was that one. 4 point guards they drafted in a row. They
traded the Ty Lawson.
Ty Lawson, and he ended up. I think he's had a pretty decent career. I think Denver he ended up starting.
He had a decent career. He played for Houston as well, and he did pretty well. But of course, he drafted 3, and Ricky didn't play until later on. So then
Johnny Flynn.
Yeah, we don't talk about Johnny Flynn.
That's
too bad.
I like Johnny Flynn. I liked him as a college player. That's about it.
Is good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hold off on the Wiggins thing because I kind of want to put some more into that. But, I know that it's just the Wolves franchise is cursed. And everyone who's watching right now or who's watching later can agree that this franchise has suffered through so much. It's just bad draft picks, bad teams, just bad everything around, bad ownership. It's just it doesn't stop. Now, granted, this last year, there's some positivity coming out, and they made the playoffs, for goodness sake. They had a great series versus Memphis. Granted, they should have won, but that's neither here nor there. But let's get back to Klay's dad here. He's not wrong, and we're the butt of many jokes, and that's literally what it says right here. And there's maybe some stuff going on with D'Lo right now, so maybe this is actually turning out in the Golden State's favor here, which is very possible. But we'll get to that in a second. But the situation that this presents is I don't see anything wrong with what he said. The only thing that I'm kind of like, just leave it alone type of thing. Just leave us alone.
Like, we get it. Thank you.
Yeah, we know.
Thanks for the
reminder.
reminder.
Know we suck. Okay, we know we suck. Just to leave us out of it. And not only that, but there were rumors at one point that the Wolves may have been interested in trading for your son, Klay Thompson. So there was talks at one point about that. So I don't want to go off that tangent and say, well, he's not, but he isn't wrong. This is very, very true, and we just gotta we just got to take the hits. That's the main thing. We got to take the
Literally
hits
all we
where
can
we
do.
can
Yep.
and whatnot. So, but with that being said, I think this is a perfect segue because Voldy's Virtues this week is hashtag CurseofMinnesota. There's been a lot of former players that have graced or have been in Minnesota and have been good players, and then all of a sudden when they leave Minnesota, they get traded, they get released, they do this, X, Y, and Z. They go to another team and they end up winning a championship. How the hell does that happen? We don't know. It's just that there's a curse on our state. There has been a curse on this state for years and years and years and years, ever since like the beginning of Minnesota sports, for goodness sake.
Yep.
But Voldy's going to go through this list. And, I mean, just to name a few before we get going, as we posted on the socials here, we're going to be talking about, each kind of person here. So make sure that you guys are listening to this because this is going to be good. So anyway, Voldy, let's head to the Temple of Wisdom for Voldy's Virtues.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom. Gather round for Voldy's Virtues.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom, and he is about to enlighten us. Shield, all yours.
Well, with Andrew Wiggins now becoming a latest member of Dub Nation and also winning an NBA title with the Golden State Warriors, now brings us to another chapter in the Curse of Minnesota. For those that don't know what the Curse of Minnesota is, I've explained it as this: as a former Minnesota staple in their livelihood that have graced us with their presence in their time as a Minnesota pro athlete, things don't always work out for them here in the great state in the land of 10,000 lakes. And unfortunately, that has led them to part waters and head elsewhere to happier trails. Though Andrew Wiggins now makes it 11 consecutive pro seasons where at least one former Minnesota pro athlete has won a title. That's 12 in the last 13 years, 19 in the last 23 professional seasons in the Big Four, that being the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, and the NFL. I think I said, NFL,
Yep,
NHL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA that have won a title other than Minnesota itself. So that can be explained as we broke down the list. This took me 2.5 hours to compile. I probably could have come up with more if I did a little bit more digging, but I was just surprised at the sheer size of the list that has happened in recent years. So we may have to post this somewhere else, but let's take a look here at the list itself. It does get a little bit gray, a little bit more muddy as we get to some of the more busy years and the early part of the 2010s. This year, right now, we've already got Andrew Wiggins on the list, potentially another former Minnesota pro athlete on tap to win a Stanley Cup by the name of Nico Sturm, formerly of the Minnesota Wild, currently with the Colorado Avalanche. Could potentially happen. Keep tabs on that. I think there could also be a player for the Tampa Bay Lightning with some connections as well. More to come on that here at a later date. But last year, obviously, with the Atlanta Braves, Eddie Rosario, and also former Twins player back in the day, Ron Washington, were Major League World Series champions. And also Jeff Teague, former Timberwolf, a member of the Milwaukee Bucks, did end up winning a NBA title with the Bucks. 2020, Bruce Dar Gratterall, Bruce Gatorade, as I like to call him, with the LA Dodgers, won a World Series. 2019, former Vikings players, now Kansas City Chief coaches, Mike Kafka and Greg Lewis won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. And then Brian Dozier, Kurt Suzuki with the Washington Nationals in 2019. 2018, Cordero Patterson, Super Bowl champ with the New England Patriots, Super Bowl 53, as well as Eduardo Nunez for the Boston Red Sox, won a World Series. 2017, Matt Cullen with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he also in 2016 as well. Juan Centeno, former Twins catcher, won with the Houston Astros. 2016, this one hurt a little bit for a lot of people. 2016, Pascal Dupuis, one of the original Wild players, And Matt Cullen won a Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Joe Nathan for the Chicago Cubs won a World Series. He was on the roster early in the year, still got a World Series ring out of the deal as well. In 2016 as well, Cleveland Cavaliers, Kevin Love, and Mo freaking Williams won an NBA title with the Cavs in 2016. 2015 Kansas City Royals, Drew Butera, Kendrys Morales, literally the year after they were with the Twins, Kendrys Morales and Drew Butera. 2014, just talking about right place at the right time, Marian Gaborik, who signed that 19-year, $475 million deal with the Rangers, ends up a pile of garbage in New York, ends up going to the Kings that season, and ends up hoisting the Stanley Cup. Talk about right place at the right time for Marian Gaborik. 2013, this one's going to hurt the most because this one is a very deep list in 2013. This one the most filled. Boston Red Sox, World Series champions 2013. David Ortiz, Craig Breslow, smartest man in baseball because he went to Harvard.
Oh, that's right.
Chicago Blackhawks, Stanley Cup champions who defeated the Boston Bruins. Nick Leddy, the trade piece out of the Cam Barker to Chicago deal where the Wild got Cam Barker and the Wild sent a top pick in Nick Leddy to Chicago, ends up winning a Stanley Cup. Super Bowl champions, Seattle Seahawks. Percy Harvin, Heath Farwell, Sidney Rice, Tavares Jackson. Basically, anybody who was a Vikings fan from like 2006 to 2010, those names right there. Just of course they would go. Where Vikings go to die, it's Seattle. Everybody knows that. And then former Timberwolves shooter, that being Mike Miller with the NBA Heat, who also won in 2012 with the Miami Heat. 2012, we go to the Baltimore Ravens. Matt Burke. Matt Burke won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. And then also you look at Jose Maharis. Remember big old Jose? He went with a San Francisco Giants, ended up winning a World Series with them.
Oh, okay.
2011, the Shredder, Nick Punto with the St. Louis Cardinals. Corey Brewer and Sasha Pavlovich with the Dallas Mavericks. Corey Brewer has the distinction of leaving the Timberwolves, going to win a title, and then actually coming back to the Timberwolves in his career. Ended up winning a title. Coming back and winning a title with the Dallas Mavericks in 2011. Now, this is the first year, 2010, didn't see anybody of note that won a title, so that makes it 11 consecutive years where where a former pro athlete for the Minnesota Sports didn't win a title. 2009, Darren Sharper with the New Orleans Saints. We won't go beyond that. Multiple reasons for that. 2008, Kevin Garnett, Sam Cassell for the Boston Celtics. 2007, David Ortiz and J.C. Romero for the Red Sox ended up winning a World Series with the Red Sox. J.C. Romero, the last actual Twin to wear the number 33 before Justin Morneau. Fun fact about that. Nothing in 2006. 2005, you're not a real Timberwolves fan if you don't know who Rasho Nesterovich with the San Antonio Spurs ended up winning a title. 2004, Ortiz and Doug Minkiewicz for the Boston Red Sox. Nothing in 2003. Brad Johnson in 2002 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2001 with the Showtime Lakers, that being Greg Foster and Isaiah J.R. Ryder ended up winning a title with Kobe and Shaq and the crew there. And then in 2000, we go to the Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl 35. Quadri Ismail, who was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, and I think 96, I believe, as well. Somebody may have to fact check me on that. Ended up playing a handful of years for the Vikings, bounced around, ended up on the Baltimore Ravens, and then obviously Chuck Knobloch, who did win a World Series with the Twins, but was a part of the New York Yankees in 2000. So we've run through the whole list. It's devastating is what it is. A lot of these names grow up with, you hear them, they do great things in Minnesota, but unfortunately unable to actually do anything to win a title significantly. So how can this all really be explained? Breaking it down, where do we start? Well, it always comes up from the top. Ownership and management.
Yeah.
You look at all the ownership and all the management over the years in Minnesota. The one thing you don't see a lot of turnover with is ownership. You see a lot of turnover in management, coaches, general managers, presidents of operations as well, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, hockey, not putting their full investment. We all know the pole ad pocket protectors, not going to, squeeze a dollar out of a dime, basically. That's what they're going to try and do to save a few bucks. Year after year, they come at maybe a successful year where they just sneak into the playoffs or they win the division. They don't do anything to capitalize on the momentum, and they just let it slip right through their hands to improve. Or even thinking of improving after a down year. Hey, let's go after a big free agent. Hey, let's go after a guy that can help us out in the back end of a game, or a starting pitcher, or a guy that can shoot, or a guy that put up 30 goals from last season. Well, from that point on, a lack of confidence goes right down to coaching. Coaches not really going for, because of the fact that big or flashy names that have brought success at previous stops. Specifically, you look at guys like some of the coaches for the Timberwolves in the past. Rick Adelman, Kurt Rambis. You look at Ryan Saunders riding off the success of Flip. Flip Saunders started to get things going for the Timberwolves, and unfortunately he passed away in his second stint with the team as well. R.I.P. to Flip Saunders as well. And it's just not translated with all the coaches that have come in the past that have maybe won titles or had significant success at previous tenures. That just has not come together at the right time for any sake of any professional franchise in Minnesota. And then from that point on, that trickles down to the team itself. Players that have been drafted or have signed with Minnesota have just not come up through the system or as well, but more specifically talking about guys that have either signed or been drafted by certain teams in Minnesota, haven't had the great amount of success. They've struggled. They haven't adjusted to the game, or maybe the system that they come up with as well. It just doesn't work to their ability. They've not delivered, and unfortunately, as they would have in the past, one significant comes into mind is the big free agent period. I think might have been 2008, 2010. Wild go out and sign Martin Havlat for a big contract as well. Didn't do a damn thing for the Minnesota Wild. That was the year that Marion Gaborik ended up signing with New York. Didn't do a damn thing over there either. So maybe the Wild dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah.
Just has not translated in success, because Martin Havlat, he was coming off a big season with Chicago and didn't work out. A lot of signings in the past or big trades. Let's talk about Devin Setaguchi and Danny Heatley, the All-Star.
The heater.
No, just didn't work. A couple of nice moments here and there. Didn't work out. Wasn't the same Danny Heatley. Wasn't the same Devin Setaguchi as well. So you look at this list and you look at how this came to be. Certain situations, you look at one player, it's like, okay, this guy, Andrew Wiggins, and I know you want to talk about this, Matt, too, with Andrew Wiggins. Top number 1 pick. We get him in the big deal, and nothing. We get nothing out of him, essentially. It was just all flash in the pan. You look at some of the other guys that I think Tommy Fitterer might have commented earlier that it still pains him to this day that the Twins chose Matthew LeCroy over David Ortiz in that offseason. Eventually Ortiz ended up signing with the Red Sox, and he never looked back, while Matthew LeCroy was out of Major League Baseball in the next 2 years, I think it was, at that point in his career. So you look at the list overall, and again, 11 consecutive years now where a former Minnesota Pro athlete has won a title elsewhere. 12 in the last 13, 19 in the last 23 seasons. The curse of Minnesota, unfortunately, is alive and well, and it doesn't look like it'll be slowing down anytime soon.
I'm just looking at some, especially what you shared, too. Pain all the time. Yeah, that's true. From Noah and then Tommy, yeah. Oh, man, Matthew over Dave. Well, I don't know. I kind of liked LeCroy just because, but, still, Big Papi.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Big Papi. Let's get to the Wiggins thing here because, and I'm not going to go off on a rant or anything. I'm just going to kind of give some background to this with Wiggins because I know, adding to the curse and whatnot too. But let's not forget that Andrew Wiggins had all the opportunity to be the guy. Now, there was one thing that Jimmy Butler was correct about, and that was his work ethic. Because, and by the way, Carlos Correa just hit another home run. Twins are up 3-1.
Nice.
Let's go. But Jimmy Butler was right about his work ethic because there are times where he could be great. He could be the best player on that floor. Then there's times where he'd disappear or he couldn't hit a shot to save his freaking life. His lack of defense. He goes to Golden State. They trade, and I agree with the Wolves on that trading him because not only did he not live up to that to that contract, for goodness sake, when Glenn said, I looked him in the eyes and he was gonna, I just knew he would, do well. Well, guess what? He didn't live up to that contract. I'm sorry. Now, he goes to a situation where you have Steve Kerr, you have Steph Curry, you have Klay Thompson, you have Draymond Green. You fit that mold because you are the third option as opposed to trying to be the first or second, depending on how you wanted to look at it, with Cat. Now, did Wiggins not like Butler? There is no doubt in my mind that it was Butler and Wiggins having the issues because Butler wanted him to be great, but Wiggins wouldn't listen. That's the one thing I wanted to bring up with that. Now, I give a lot of props out to people like, people question his heart and his word, but he had to be in the right situation, and he was in the right situation. Whereas a lot of coaching, there was a lot of coaches that left Minnesota. There was Ryan Saunders who really did like him a lot and wanted him to be great and pushed him. But you had Tibbs, and Tibbs trying to emphasize, playing defense. Now people are like, Wiggins is a good defense. Don't say that, because Andrew Wiggins is not a good defender. I watched some of those games in the finals. Offensively, he was great. Defensively, he wasn't good. Yeah. Okay, don't give me that BS because it is not true with Wiggins not being. Or don't tell me he's a good defender because he is not. He is not a good defender. But I give him a lot of credit because he played to the role that I think the Wolves should have made him into be. But would he have accepted that? I doubt it. So that's just kind of my spiel on it. Voldy, I don't know what else you wanted to add, but Percy Harvin, that one, that kind of stung a little bit just because that was a big deal at the time because Percy was upset and, we're like, we don't want him to go. And then Ortiz. Ortiz is another one. Marion Gabrick, that one hurts a little bit more than you'd think because
he didn't do anything.
Right.
He just was on the right team at the right time. That's what pisses me off the most about that. And, even with Percy Harvin, too, it's I would have loved nothing more to see him win with the Vikings. And obviously Sidney Rice as well. Heath Farwell, who worked his tail off, on special teams. And he is, Pro Bowler as a special teamer, too. And then Tavares Jackson ends up getting a Super Bowl ring, which, honestly, that kind of pissed me off out of a lot of it. It's really Tavares Jackson, may he rest in peace, as, he ends up with the Super Bowl ring as well in the city where Vikings go to die in Seattle. The fact that it was Seattle, of all teams, that ended up winning, and, we know that Percy ended up taking a kickback as well for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's classic Percy right there.
That is classic Percy.
And I'll still never forget Papa Callahan's quote when he went to Buffalo as well from the penthouse to the outhouse, baby.
Exactly, and that's when Buffalo was bad. So
when they were bad,
7,
8 years ago. So,
oh God, you should have been there when he said that, though. That was literally, I was on the floor, like rolling on the ground, laughing because it was just perfect. Could have been building a dynasty. You could have. I mean, I think he's alluding to the Wiggins or however you wanted to put it.
Right.
But I'm not going to go fully into the 2009 thing. I mean, well, first of all, Darren Sharper, bleh. Don't need to go more into that with him. But I will say with Sidney and, Percy obviously was on that team too in 2009 and whatnot. But having that being taken away because I don't care who we are. I think the Minnesota Vikings would have beaten the Colts in that Super Bowl. Just saying.
Hell yeah.
More on that at a future time. But they could have had one right there too. So, but again, curse of Minnesota, like you said, Voldy. I love the list. I think we should post this list on our socials at some point. So, when you have the final edition ready, we'll have it and post it to our zoners and as well as other people who might want to check that out too. So, great job with Voldy's Virtues. Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
This week. And we'll be talking about this more. And another perfect segue for ARA because we're talking more about Andrew Wiggins because he's looking for a little extension. And then we're going back to the whole Watson deal. We're going to this golf situation, which is interesting. And then just wait for the dansnyder one, okay? Because I'm ready to just blow a blood vessel in my brain. I'm just getting so pissed off with that. Anyway, let's just get it going. Let's absurd or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, zoners, Voldy, it's time for some absurd or approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle a lot for us, please?
Well, with the completion of the NBA season culminating in another championship for the Golden State Warriors, their fourth in the last 8 years, brings to mind of, now the offseason is here, and what does that mean for some of these role players for the team that helped win a championship? Are they going to be coming back to the Dubs or not? As amid some of the festivities in the locker room, champagne flying everywhere, Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, former Timberwolf, hopped on the old Instagram Live to share their celebration with followers. And even Poole looked at Wiggins and claimed, "You're going to get a bag," as he was quoted as saying, talking about maybe looking at a big extension coming up here in the offseason. But that does bring up the idea of which, is it even possible to sign some of these guys to big extensions given the overall makeup and all of the other players that are still making outlandish money as well for Golden State? Because Andrew Wiggins is in the final year of his $147 million rookie contract extension from 2017 with the Timberwolves. And Jordan Poole is also in the last year of his rookie deal with both extensions, and if extensions are not signed, that means that they'll be free agents in the next offseason. So, with that also being said, you look at the overall makeup of the team. You got Draymond, you got Steph, you got Klay. You got other guys as well that are still on the team. You look at Gary Payton II, Andre Iguodala, Kevin Looney, Otto Porter Jr., Bahelica, Damian Lee, even Chris Chiazza as well. Those are just some of the front-end guys there that are on the bench and playing significant minutes for Golden State. Is it even possible? Are Wiggins and also Jordan Poole going to get those extensions for Golden State this offseason?
They are, and the reason why I say that is because that they have a good plan in place to actually make more cap room to get Wiggins and whatnot. Let's start with Wiggins. I think this makes sense because he fits the kind of the mold that they have kind of made the team now, because this isn't the same team that you've seen, obviously with Kevin Durant, Steph, Klay, and all those guys, and, Draymond. But with Wiggins, it gives them a different type. I mean, Andrew Wiggins is he's not going to shoot threes. He will shoot you out of the game if he's shooting threes. But he gets to the basket. He can be an offensive weapon. And the thing is he has good rapport with the guys that he's with right now. Steve Kerr likes him a lot, even though I totally disagree with he's a great two-way player. No, he's not. He's not. But that's a whole different conversation. But I'm saying, and I'm not knocking Wiggins on this, because I think this fits him, and he doesn't have a lot of the pressure on him. Whereas, okay, Klay and Steph, Draymond, they focus on those guys. Wiggins doesn't really have that, because, well, he's just kind of contributing, and he's contributing in great fashion. And he was definitely up for MVP. But it's got my stamp of approval. It fits. I think it's too much money, because you never know when Wiggins, I don't want to go as far to say as that it's a Randy Moss situation. I want to play when I want to play type of thing, because I don't think I don't think it's like that. I just think sometimes he's just, I don't know what the best word to describe it is sometimes when he's playing, but you get the gist. I think it's got my stamp of approval for sure. He's got good rapport with the guys, and heck, you could get another ring out of this. So you can twist the knife a little bit to the Timberwolves if need be. But he hasn't said anything that's been negative towards the Wolves yet, and that's good. So we'll just kind of leave it like that. I'm happy for him. Don't get me wrong, because I thought he was going to be the guy for Minnesota. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way, but. No, he's in a good place. They'll get him to an extension. And Poole, they're going to get an extension as well, because they can't let him go. Because he's another three-point shooter that could be an adoptive third Splash brother. So we can go with that. So, stamp of approval from me. Voldy, what do you think?
I think if anybody's going to be getting an extension, I think it's definitely going to be Andrew Wiggins, and I think obviously both of them are going to be looking at some serious money. Whether it's going to be both with Golden State, we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think if anything, you look at these guys that maybe not an extension this offseason, maybe at some point during the season this coming year, or if maybe things aren't looking the way that Golden State's looking at, you got a couple serious trade prospects with these two guys too, because Andrew Wiggins, former top pick, obviously now developing his game to be more of a two-way player, as opposed to when he came in the league, it was going to be all points for him. And but that hasn't really been his game since he's been to Golden State, because he doesn't have to be the guy. He can just be one of the guys that, can put up some points when needed. But if he wants to play defense and, muck it up a little bit, he can do that. That's what he's kind of turned his game into. Will both of them get extensions? I think so. But if anybody's going to be getting an extension at Golden State, I think it's definitely going to be Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
Nothing against, Poole or anything. I just think that with Klay and with Steph and Draymond as well, they've got enough money lined up right now. But one of them goes down, with another injury, you got Poole still for at least one season. If he starts putting up points like he did this postseason, I think Golden State's definitely going to be like, all right, we need to inject a little bit more youth into this lineup, because, those three guys in Steph, Klay, and Draymond, not getting any younger right now, and they've got that youth core that's coming up with, Gary Payton second, and obviously Poole, and then, Wiggins is no spring chicken himself, but he's definitely looking on the younger side of where his career is, because, he's got a little bit of injected life back in him now with Golden State too. I think it's got my stamp of approval as well.
So, it just makes sense, especially for the type of player that, he is, and they know what they're getting. And I mean, Kerr's just spoke the world of Andrew Wiggins, and I think, with Minnesota, you really didn't get that. They're like, well, he's got to be the guy. And he's just not. So that's kind of what it came down to with that. But stamp of approval. Let him get his bag. Try to run it back for next season. So
Yeah.
we'll see. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, last week we talked about the legal situation off the field for Deshaun Watson. Well, it's taken another interesting turn as earlier this week on Tuesday, his lawyer quoted as saying that Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has settled all but 4 of the lawsuits, 20 of the 24 lawsuits against him. According to his attorney, that was said on Tuesday, 25 lawsuits as of March 16th last year in 2021 had been filed against Watson, alleging sexual assault, inappropriate behavior during massage sessions. Of those, one of them was dropped by the plaintiff when the judge ruled her petition that had to be amended with her name, and the 20 other ones had 20 of the 24 have now been settled financially. Although it doesn't look like an official amount has been released about how much money, I think maybe a little bit of the $230 million guarantee that Deshaun got from the Browns
they better
might have helped out a little bit in getting those a little bit of hush-hush money and settling those lawsuits. But looking at the situation now legally, is it absurd or approved that by settling the 20 of the 24 lawsuits, is Watson definitely guilty or giving admission of guilt to what the alleged statements have been posed against him?
He's definitely guilty. Stamp of approval, and the reason why is it's innocent until proven guilty. It's like, well, it's technically been proven. First of all, they settled. Second of all, and I believe Rusty Harden, his attorney, he said happy endings aren't a criminal act. Okay, well, it doesn't, absolve you. It doesn't absolve you from any wrongdoing. I mean, you've basically just admitted to everybody that you did something, and you did something that you weren't supposed to do. And that's the reason why that he's in the situation that he's in. And what I meant by when you said that some of that money, what he got from the contract and whatnot, yep. I hope a lot of that money is from that contract and is going to all those women that he sexually assaulted, because he can't get away with this. And they have to make him pay, and they got to make him pay big time. Now, I will say that with this current situation, and then obviously with Dan Snyder too, there has to be action taken. The NFL has to take action against Watson here. I don't give a damn how much money he's making, or it'll affect the brand. I don't give a damn if it affects the brand. You make him pay, and the reason, or you make him pay by having him be suspended. To what length? I mean, I can't say, because I don't know where they would go with this, but especially with more of these women coming out too. I mean, if there's more coming out, I mean, you got to put them on the exempt list, and you got to figure something out and really make this guy pay and say, listen, man, you're really screwing the pooch here. And I think with Watson, by him settling with the 20 out of the 24, just proves the point. And it's very disappointing, and also this is going to tarnish his career for the rest of his life. So, he talking to the media, I can't say. Just, you have to go out and go and apologize and go meet and say, I'm really sorry for what I did. That's when people are going to say, okay, he admits but I don't think he'll ever do that, because he's like, oh, I'm not guilty. No, you're guilty beyond belief, buddy. So, stamp of approval, he's definitely guilty. Voldy, what do you got?
I mean, the proof is in the pudding, and that is certainly one way to look at that, especially the fact that he doesn't want to go to court, because it would definitely take away from his time in trying to build a rapport with the new team, new teammates as well. But putting football aside as well, if you settle, that kind of puts a little bit of some strain to know that, you definitely don't want to try and clear your name, but at the same time, you just want it to be over with. I can understand that. But if you think you're innocent, and don't you
Wouldn't
want
be
to?
fighting?
Yeah, wouldn't you be fighting for it? But 20 out of 24 settling out of court. I hope that we find out what amount in total that will tally up to as well, because that definitely isn't a cheap settlement as well, with one, let alone 20 out of 24. I see this as a situation that by not going to court and fighting it, it's definitely guilty. And no matter what, you're always going to look back at this and be like, yeah, he was a heck of an athlete, heck of a player, but at the same time, you can't look at him the same way ever again, because massage sessions and lawsuits going out all crazy, $230 million guaranteed for basically not playing for the last 2 pro seasons. And Cleveland, it's definitely got my stamp of approval. The dude's definitely guilty.
Well, let's not forget too that he wanted out at a time where he's unhappy with Houston and everything. But then all these allegations go, and then it's like, or everything comes out now with these massage sessions, and it's like, you have no say in what we do here, bud. It's just, you have no say whatsoever. So it's, he's guilty. I mean, he is 100% guilty of these crimes. And I don't care who you are, the guy is going to be forever tarnished. So we'll see. All right, next one, Voldy.
I still definitely want to walk back my comments of ever saying Deshaun Watson could have been MVP if he wasn't on Houston. That's for sure.
There you go.
But moving on here, our next story as well. Well, the latest to jump ship from the PGA into the world of the LIV comes in the form of Brooks Koepka, the latest star golfer to lead the PGA Tour for the LIV Golf Series. Age 32, one of the highest profile golfers to join the breakaway circuit. 4-time major champion is going to be defecting from the PGA Tour to the Golf Invitational Series, the LIV Golf Invitational Series, as they're expecting to announce the addition of Koepka in the coming days, as Koepka officially ranked number 19th in the world, will be playing his first event at the LIV Golf event in the United States at Pumpkin Ridge in Portland, coming up on June 30th, and depending on the departure from the PGA, could very well be on actually, it was yesterday, as it was first reported. Now, looking at this with Koepka now jumping ship for the LIV. Now, by the end of this year, is it absurd or approved more top golfers will be leaving the PGA to join the LIV? Is that absurd or approved?
It's got my stamp of approval. And the reason why I say, and I'm not saying like everyone's going to go there. No, but there's going to be some more names that go there, because guess what? Money, 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 as we like to say here. Koepka, he's a high-profile player. From what I understand, the Live Golf offered Tiger a boatload of money to do it. But I think Tiger made some comments saying, like, no, it's about me staying, it's keeping with the tradition with the PGA.
Right.
And I think Rory McIlroy also had some things to say about that as well. But I think with this, they're like, well, let's be honest. The PGA, the people, the administration, and the people that are involved with the PGA, they're greedy. We all know that. And there's been a lot of controversy regarding that. But Live Golf apparently is just, there's a lot of controversy with them too. They signed DeChambeau.
Yep.
I know, another controversial figure. They signed Patrick Reed, another controversial figure. Dustin Johnson's another guy that's very, out there in the media and whatnot. But Koepka, that whole situation is just kind of interesting. But they, with Live Golf going on, they're trying to show like, well, the PGA is not that good. You come join us, we'll give you everything you want, type of thing. But from what I understand, I think Jay Monahan, who's been kind of been the guy for the PGA here, has been, pretty much saying, like, I don't look at this as healthy competition for another league. It's like, I don't like what they're doing. He says that those guys are greedy over there. So it's like a civil war going on right about now. So, it's got my stamp of approval. I think there's going to be more guys, but I don't know to what extent. That's the thing. I don't know how many guys will, but with enough consideration, with enough money, they'll get. But I will say this: they're not going to get Tiger. They're not going to get Tiger, and apparently not Rory either. So I don't think Spieth is going to go. Kevin Na's another guy that went over there too. So it'll be interesting. But stamp of approval. There's going to be more guys, but to what extent, we don't know. Voldy, what do you got?
You talked about those 4 guys: Koepka, Johnson, Reed, and DeChambeau. Get more money, work less. That's basically what they're going for right now. Less events, more money in the bag for them to play golf, but not to the rigorous schedule that the PGA Tour does have as well. I could get it from that standpoint. Is it absurd or approved that more guys will be jumping ship for the Live Tour? I could definitely see it happening. It's got my stamp of approval. It's definitely going to be happening. I don't see in any right frame of mind why Tiger would go to the PGA, leave the PGA, I should say. Rory's in a good spot because those guys right there, some of those younger guys and guys like Dustin Johnson and all of them leaving and go to the Live Tour, hey, guess what? That opens up more spots for them to try and win. Tiger trying to chase the record for most major wins and everything. Rory trying to stack up more on his resume, too, to prove that he can still be a number 1 out there, too. So I think it's a good move all around. Guys are going to jump shit to the Live, and that's going to be more opportunities for Tiger and crew to maybe rack up a few more victories on the major list with the likes of the PGA Tour. So more guys going to jump? I think so. It's got my stamp of approval as well.
And another thing too, our U.S. Open winner, Matt Fitzpatrick, talked to ESPN Get Up, and he was saying like he's not going anywhere either because he agreed with Tiger and what Rory has said to the media and whatnot, and I believe Rory called out the guys who went over to Live. So controversy has arisen here with the golf, so it's kind of interesting though because you never really hear about that. So, but yeah, there's going to be more guys, but to what extent? I guess we'll find out. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, the ongoing saga of the Washington Commanders and owner Daniel Snyder continues. This time being that Snyder is not going to go and testify before the House Oversight Committee investigating the Commanders' alleged toxic workplace culture, as quoted by saying an initial invitation to the committee itself, as Snyder flat out just came and said, no, I'm not going to come out and testify as well, as the toxic workplace culture, saying that Snyder had a, quote, long-standing Commanders-related business conflict, as also at the end of the month of June. So that's why he was quoted as saying that he would not be attending, as this just continues to add more to the craziness that is the Washington Commanders with their new name, with their new look, and obviously all the befuddlement that has been their franchise, at least since the turn of the century, that they could not just consistently put a good enough team together, and let alone off the field try to win favor with everything that's gone on for them off the field too. Is it absurd or approved, DJ Matty C, that could Daniel Snyder be subpoenaed to testify before Congress to discuss the workplace culture investigation of the franchise? And if out of that could potentially lead to him being booted out of the NFL.
There's so many layers to this. Why in the world does this keep happening where this man has been called out on so many occasions? Right. He rarely ever goes out to the media. He rarely ever says anything. You know what? The guy's an absolute coward. He is a coward. And the fact that he didn't even show his face, he couldn't even do a Zoom meeting. The guy's in frickin' France right now.
Oh my God.
The guy is in France doing other related business. It's not the time for MinneZona to turn out to have cuss or to say cuss words yet, but you guys will know what I mean. But what a bunch of BS. That is so BS. You can't hop on Zoom and, be questioned about this stuff. And you have to be forced in front of Congress to try and, figure this out with this workplace. This workplace that the Commanders have had before with the Redskins and Washington football team, all that, have been called out on so many occasions. Sexual assault with him. The guy's a sick individual. The guy is a piece of you-know-what. And especially when there was a letter that detailed this in 2009, sexual assault allegations. He was groping women and doing it and saying he wanted to have sexual relations with them, X, Y, and Z, and on a plane or in a car, things like that. He's saying that he denies it and this and that. His team's saying that he goes and then, asked to pay hush money. There's been a lot of hush money going on here with a lot of certain individuals of sports right now, and that's first of all disappointing. Second of all, it's sickening. But this man is a coward, and the fact that these owners, I understand. I get why people are saying well, Goodell should just get rid of him. It's not that simple with Goodell, okay? It is not that simple. He doesn't have the authority. And I'm not backing Goodell here, okay? I'm just saying that he does not have. It has to be the owners. It has to be unanimous. But I am calling out the NFL owners right now. This man needs to be removed from the Washington Commanders immediately. I don't understand why they haven't taken action against this bum, because this guy is a sick individual. He does not deserve to have an NFL team. And the fact that he is still owner of the Washington Commanders makes me sick. And I'm not even a Washington Commanders fan. And I'm trying to get this clown out of here. This guy is sick. Is a sick individual. Get rid of this guy. He is a disgrace and a coward. I hope that he gets forced into explaining his actions. I don't care what it takes. I want frickin' Joe Biden to go and bring that SOP over to Congress and have him answer for his actions, because there's nowhere that this guy can hide now. And the NFL owners right now need to get this guy out of here. He needs to go. He needs to go. Get rid of him. Voldy, what do you got?
I see the whole situation, and I echo the same sentiment that you do. I think the NFL, because the NFL right now is definitely in a situation they want the best for their league because of the fact that they continue to try and weed out the bad that is the league. And, right now they're in a tough situation with Deshaun Watson and what they want to do with him, despite the fact that the legalities are working themselves more towards Deshaun Watson. You thought that maybe by now you'd be on the exempt list or something until all the lawsuits were settled. But if they want to build a zero-tolerance situation, look, Washington just continues to shoot themselves in the foot with every step along the way, too, with, the name change and the rebuilding process and the stadium falling apart, basically, and all the injuries that have happened at that field over the last decade plus there. And now Dan Snyder, who continues to run into all these issues as well off the field, even as owner, you would think the incompetency of Dan Snyder would be a vote of no confidence against him. And the owners would definitely chime in and say, "Hey, we need to do something about this," because I know those owners. They get together, they talk, they do their own little, back door, back alley deals, and form their alliances and everything. I would feel like a lot of owners have similar opinions that we do about Daniel Snyder and just all the crap that continues to go on off the field in the building itself. That's just not painting the NFL and the Commanders in the right light. Maybe some new blood that gets in there, and maybe the owners have to be proactive in this one. They have to say enough is enough. They got to give an ultimatum, and I feel like if it doesn't happen soon, I don't feel like it's ever going to happen. And this is just going to continue on to the point where that the NFL is never going to be in a positive enough light to continue on to the success that it wants to be, while also trying to promote at the same time that they are a league and also again, they're a corporation as well, where they are very business savvy and they are a place that people definitely want to strive to work for. Look, Dan Snyder's got to go. That's the short and long of it as well. The fact that Congress is getting into the act as well should be, a big ol', here's your sign and, do with it with what you will. But the fact that our nation's lawmakers are stepping in, our priorities are a little bit skewed if we're talking NFL and also with our, our national lawmakers. But at the same time, the NFL will be like, okay, I guess now we got to do something about this. Dan Snyder's got to go. It's got my stamp of approval.
And this is what's funny to me. On Monday, this is his attorney that said Mr. Snyder's business conflict was scheduled long before then and cannot be rescheduled. You guys are just ridiculous. Oh, you're a moron. You guys are morons. Moreover, your letter's suggestion that Mr. Snyder may testify remotely does not address my concern that a virtual appearance would not sufficiently protect Mr. Snyder's interest in having his counsel physically present with him. Oh my God. This is just, it's a clown show, man. It really is a clown show. And I can't, it's just pure stupidity. It's pure stupidity, and the guy's a coward, and it proves he's a coward right there. Mm-hmm. And the attorney, I get that the attorney's trying to do their job and whatnot, but let's be honest. Guy's a freaking coward. So, anyway, I think you and I think the whole freaking NFL community, the whole freaking universe agrees that this guy needs to be removed as owner of the Washington Commanders. And I say that because the Commanders have just, they've suffered through enough, let's be honest. So, anyway, I believe that's going to do it, right, Shield? We got everything. That is right. So, great job with ARA this week. A lot of cool Shield shoutouts this week. There's been some retirements, and also there's some sadness today too, which I hate. We hate to see it and whatnot, and especially some news coming through. Recently too. So very sad. Yeah. But let's get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, forgot to mention last week, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So a happy belated Father's Day to everybody across the world that was. And Father's Day was pretty good for at least myself and the household as well. Got a nice little new thermos here. It's a baseball thermos as well. Got the Aiken Farmers Market. So thank you to Mrs. Sarah Ann Twofold, creative consultant, and Case Paul James for that, as well as the wonderful Father's Day gift of the personalized shirts. That I got a shirt that's got a beer glass that says full pint, and Case has got a matching shirt that says half pint as well.
That's good.
So that's pretty cute. We'll have to get a picture of that sometime
Yes.
as well. So big Shield shout out to those two. And also happy trails. And if you haven't noticed, jersey hanging behind me, jersey I've got on as well. Well, happy retirement to Rob Gronkowski. Well, yeah, as he did announce that the four-time Super Bowl champion tight end announced his retirement from the NFL on Tuesday after 11 seasons, of course, with New England and also the last two with Tampa Bay. Let's hope that this time it does stick around. Just, we don't want to continue on with this cycle over and over, but who knows? Who knows? As long as the paperwork is signed, then it's official that retirement is a thing. So hopefully it does stick around this time, and happy trails to Rob Gronkowski. Best of luck here in the future, and hopefully, he's definitely not going to not be busy. He's got lots on his plate as well. And unfortunately, earlier today that we did learn that rest in peace, the age of 55 years old, former Colts and Ravens defensive lineman and former Fox NFL sideline analyst Tony Siragusa, the Goose, passed away at the age of 55. Who didn't? When I got back into watching sports, watching the NFL, Tony Siragusa, I always look forward to. It's like, I hope he's on for Vikings games, or I hope he's going to be on TV for something, because Tony Siragusa was funny as hell on the sideline, usually at one of the end zones talking about what's going on, everything. He was hilarious. If you go back when he was on Hard Knocks as well, playing for the Ravens, even more hilarious. Rest in peace to Siragusa. And, Tony Siragusa was a hell of a football player, hell of an analyst as well. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. That's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week. Yeah,
definitely sad. Kenny Loose and Goose. I always enjoyed.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, Kenny Loose and Goose. That's how it worked with that Fox
Kenny
crew.
Albert,
I always was waiting for that, but now it's Kenny and Jonathan Vilm. But that's just don't like that one. But Kenny Loose and Goose was always a good one. Now, there's been some controversy surrounding Gronk here. I want your thoughts, just very quick. Gronk didn't, in his Instagram post, did not mention the Patriots. Do you think that's a thing, Voldy? What do you got?
I don't think it's a thing. I think just Rob is very I think Gronk is just very in the moment. Like, he's if he was with anybody else this past year, or if he wouldn't mention anybody, because, he's just like, oh, I'm with Tampa Bay. I should probably talk about Tampa Bay. I'm sure there's going to be something here very soon with Tampa Bay, or with New England as well, because it's going to do the same thing that probably Tom did and talk about, yes, obviously, I played for the Patriots as well. Let's give them their credit as well. I don't read much into that. Again, I think Gronk is just very in the moment when it comes to stuff like that.
All right. Well, I guess, we'll see. I
hope so, at least.
You would think. It's just, you wonder. You wonder what went on those last few seasons, especially. So, we'll see. I don't know. But a great job with Shield Shoutouts this week, Voldy. And as always, we end the show with our merch people. We've got merch. We've got hats. We have 4 hats left, so they're still available. I've talked to some people. They are interested, so we will get that going. $20, $5 shipping. Same deal with, oh, gosh, come here. There we go. These bad boys as well. We have the shirts. Same deal, $20, $5 shipping. They're fantastic. 5 out of 5 stars. No complaints whatsoever.
Still got the limited edition ones, too.
Limited edition. Yes, we still have some XL extra larges left. So make sure you guys get them while they're hot. $20.
2 extra larges left. Get them while they're still here.
You're darn right. So, like Voldy said, check those out. Also, we have the stickers as well. You know the deal. $2 for the small ones. $3 for these bad boys. So we still got some left. Make sure that you guys let us know, and we'll send them to you, because we got a good number of them. So we want to make sure we get them to you guys as well. So moving on, W2 Performance. Make sure you check out our guy Will Rattel at www.w2performance.com. Rattel's posting stuff daily. We love it. We love the stuff that he's put out, and we'll have him on soon. So watch out.
Sir.
Thank you to National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers, Jack O'Keefe, Jack's Junkyard. Make sure you check out his stuff. Check out Breaking Into the League with Sam Gabrielli and Ryan Martin. I remembered his name this time. Available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So I apologize. Last week was a fluke. I apologize, Ryan.
Yep.
And then check out Victorious P.O.D. with Ryan Walters and Jack Vickers. They're already getting their fantasy football stuff together. So
of course they are.
We'll be checking in with those guys as well. So anyway, that's going to do it for episode 112, folks. 112.
Yes, sir.
And it's been a great summer so far, and we've got more content coming your way. And hopefully the Twins hold on here. They still have the lead, so fingers crossed that we can hold off the Guardians. And I don't know why I'm getting so used to that. Usually I'm screwing the name up because it's so recent, but it is what it is. So anyway, remember, as always, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.